Hey everybody, it's Casey Williams. I have to tell you about my best friend. He's a long-term Corvette enthusiast. Owned a 1976 Corvette. He's had a Chevy Camaro for much of the last decade and was getting ready to trade in the Camaro for a new Corvette. And then he started complaining about how expensive Corvettes had become. If we inflation adjust the prices, they're really not that much more expensive than they've traditionally been. But they are expensive, almost $70,000 base price. So I started thinking, well, what other car might give everything you would want in a next generation front engine Corvette? The simplicity, the handling, and just the cool style of that car with a price a lot more affordable. And the vehicle we have this week, I think, answers the question. The 2025 Nissan Z. Let's go have a look at it. Well, first off, I really like the Z styling. If we peeled back the shell a little bit and looked underneath, you find out that the basic architecture and chassis really isn't that much change from the early 2000s, but you would never tell from the way it drives, and you'd never tell from the way it looks. First of all, you got that 1970 classic Z styling, just brought forward a couple of decades, more than a couple of decades, about 5.5 of them. But I really do like the styling of it. You know, in the old car, you had round headlamps here, but this oblong look that comes up into the fender tries to simulate that a little bit. The grille, again, the square grille and the texture taken right from the original car. Come on the side, you see that classic profile. The long hood, the fastback rear end on it. It looks really good over the 19-inch wheels. These are the dark black wheels. I think they're really good with the red brake calipers behind them. And you see a lot of the body effects. This is the performance version of it. You see the lower side extensions down here. And again, come around the back, you get the spoiler and also the exhaust in the back. I just love this look. Car's just low, it's wide, the fenders. I really like this line right here that comes off of the front fender and comes back. And this big, fat, muscular fender back here in the back. And just some nice details. You know, the satin silver finish here. Give it a little bit of a better look. The Z logo is a classic logo from the original car here too. Come around the back. Again, the wide lamps taken right off the original car. Repeated again the 1990s in the Z from there. And again, the twin exhaust outlets just look really good down below in the lower fascia. Rear hatch. And one of the things that I really like that Nissan's done with this too, again, from recent Corvettes. Corvettes were known to have quite a bit of luggage space, easy to get into it. The new mid-engine car, not so much. But two people can get 2 roller bags in here, a couple computer bags, get away for a long weekend, absolutely no problems. I think designers struck exactly the right balance between having a classic layout and simplicity, but also having the technology that you really want in a car. And let's start with the technologies first. Flat screen instrument clusters, nice big touchscreen, volume, tuning knobs, could not be easier to use it. Menus are intuitive. This has wireless Apple CarPlay, has Android Auto, has Alexa built in. So really the technology you want to connect your devices very quickly. If you want to wire them in, there are USB ports down below. So pretty easy setup. Again, nothing complicated here at all. You got navigation on it as well. Easy. Down below, 3 little dials for the climate control. It does have automatic climate control, but again, just turn the dial. There it is. Adjust the temperature with the knob next to it. Absolutely nothing complicated. I like the 3 gauges up above. Kind of takes us back to the classic Z's. Voltage and the turbo boost is up there. Nice thick leather wrapped steering wheel, little 3-spoke wheel. Again, takes us back to the classics. Just feels very nice. But some of the other features that I do like a lot, you know, Corvettes recently, and even back in the 1980s, had some pretty gaudy color packages, but I like them a lot. And I really do like these blue seats in this version. You can get red seats as well. I just think the blue looks really good. Looks really good with the Bayside blue exterior paint. Works really well together. These are suede here in the door panel, stitched. Feel very nice. But overall, I just like this layout. Some other things I like, get heated front seats, so comfortable in the wintertime. This does have a Bose audio system. Sounds really nice when you're in here. It's not a very big car, so you get 8 speakers and a nice audio system. Sounds just great. And crash avoidance systems as well. This has automatic emergency braking, there's lane keep assist, blind spot warning, rear cross path detection. So just because it's kind of a classic sports car doesn't mean you won't be safe in it. Well, just the fact we have a manual transmission will tell you this car is something special today. You can get an automatic, but why would you get an automatic when you can get this nice click manual that works so well? Clutch is a little heavy in city traffic, but you know, I drove out to the airport and back and rush hour traffic, it wasn't too bad. So before we start talking about the driving of it, just some facts to keep in mind, especially for the Corvette enthusiasts. So 1990 Corvette 01, which was one of the fastest cars in the world in its day, had a very specially designed V8 engine that produced 375 horsepower. That car would do 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. That was absolutely supercar performance. Later versions had over 400 horsepower and improved on that performance just a little bit. But that was a car that was twice as much as a base Corvette in its day. Very nice. So let's talk about this car. So this is a Nissan Z, 3-liter twin-turbo V6, 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque, does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. So you're buying an absolutely world-class supercar from a couple decades ago for a whole lot less money, even in real terms. So you're not going to buy this for gas mileage, but gas mileage isn't bad. 18 miles per gallon in the city, 24 highway. And I drove it several hours on the highway, on the interstate, and I actually was seeing closer to 27, 28, running 75, 80 miles per hour. So those numbers are pretty conservative. But what I like about driving this car beyond all that, and it is such a way to drive with the stick shift, it has rev matching, it's fantastic. And the chassis, like I said, it's an old chassis. It's been around for a while, but significantly updated. This car feels, you can feel the body is just very stiff. The suspension works really well, the steering is tight, and it handles really well. Now, I've seen some complaints about how some people think the suspension is just a little bit soft. I don't need a car every day to knock the teeth out of my face. If you want that, there is the Nismo version that is a true track star. But this car is more like the traditional Corvettes, where a gentleman can get in this car, drive it to work, drive it on the weekends, drop the kid off at school, and it not be a miserable car to be in the rest of the time. For me, I think there's just a teeny little waft in the suspension out in the interstate, but it's still a pretty firm car, and it handles pretty well. One of the other things they did that really kind of takes us back to the C4 and also C5, 6, and 7 generation Corvettes is it's a front engine car, but it's really a front mid-engine car. And what that means is the engine is shoved way back into the chassis. Big console, engine shoved back, and it really does help balance out the performance. But I really enjoy being in this car. I like the handling of this car. And best of all, it's a car you can drive every day and enjoy it. So one of the things, given the performance of this car and the horsepower, I want you to give it another thought and perspective of Corvettes. To get a car in the 1990s that had 400 horsepower, actually not quite 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 in the 4.5 second range, to get a Corvette that would do that kind of stuff, you had to buy the ZR1. And at the time, that car was well over $60,000 in 1990 dollars. And that car was one of the top 5 fastest cars in the world in this day. So you can buy this car at a pretty affordable price with performance that is absolutely fantastic. And you can really match supercars from not that long ago. And in fact, this car, compared to even a C7 Corvette, performance is not far off the mark. Well, I tried really hard to get my best friend to go look at a Nissan Z. He ended up buying a new Ford Mustang with the EcoBoost engine. And I have to tell you, the Mustang's a very nice car. But this is much more true to what you'd think of what the evolution of the Corvette should become. And if you follow my stories often, you follow my videos often, you'll know I own a 1989 fourth generation Corvette. And I have to tell you, if the top came out of this car, I'd be ready to go buy one myself. But let's talk about price. And the price isn't nearly as much as you might think it is. The base Z starts under $43,000. Incredibly affordable for what this car is anyway. This one, $55,985. Again, $55,000 and $2,025 is still a lower sticker price than what a ZR1 was 30 years ago. And this car will match it in performance. So, pretty impressive car, delight to drive, and, I might go try to look at one myself. Next week, we'll have another fun car, and until then, storm forward.